New developments in Bridgegate. The New York Observer saying that former Port Authority Chairman David Samson will plead guilty to a felony and will not cooperate with prosecutors. The paper saying the guilty plea is not related to Bridgegate. Rather, it's over the so-called chairman's flight. That's where United Airlines started a money-losing route from Newark to Columbia, South Carolina. Columbia, South Carolina happens to be close to Samson's vacation home, and United canceled that route after Samson resigned his position. Then there's the case of the missing emails. Sounds familiar. Court records show Christie and his wife Mary Pat shared a personal email account that was never searched by investigators, and that the governor used that account to send at least one Bridgegate email. Same deal with Christie's cell phone. Text messages sent and received during Bridgegate could have been missed by prosecutors. Now that seems bad, Congressman, for Governor Christie, but at the same time, if there's anybody who was going to be able to drop the dime on everything that they knew about Governor Christie, it would be David Samson, and he's not cooperating. This feels like a little bit of a stymie on both sides of this case.
Well, that's true. David Samson has said that he's not going to cooperate with prosecutors. Very interesting situation, since he was a former U.S. attorney, a prosecutor. Remember, David Samson was appointed by Governor Christie to head the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. And during David Samson's time as head of the Port Authority, a young man was hired named David Wildstein, a friend of Governor Christie's. And in September of 2013, while Samson was the head of the Port Authority, Wildstein closed 2 of the 3 lanes from Fort Lee across the George Washington Bridge, allegedly to punish the Fort Lee mayor for not endorsing Christie's re-election. So you've got the prosecutor, and by the way, Wildstein's yet to be sentenced, but he pled guilty.
Right. All right, we're a little tight with time, but Dominic, what's your take on this, given Samson's not going to drop the dime on Christie? There's still the missing phone in the emails, but...
My take is simple. Isn't it amazing that when it involves a governor, somehow they didn't know? And these are governors that rule with an iron fist, basically. They didn't know, or the emails are missing, or the cell phone record is missing. Conveniently, it's always that way. There still could be a smoking gun. Maybe I'm wrong, but remember the press secretary? I forgot her name. It escapes me. The one that would drive all the way. You know, there are lots of allegations out there. I'll leave it at that.
Kelly, is that?
Kelly. We still don't know what she's going to do. Can I follow up?
Can you imagine any other governor, a former U.S. attorney like Christie, saying he lost his cell phone that had all the emails, texts, and other information about who he called during Bridgegate? He simply lost it?
You know there were Republicans watching this show who are saying that qualifies him to be Secretary of State.
It sounds a little bit... No,
she
you
didn't
know
lose
it
her
sounds like
emails.
when you say, it sounds like Tom Brady. Remember, he lost his cell phone?
Yeah.
And I love him. We all know that.
Sheena, Christie's gotten some play as a potential VP or Attorney General for Donald Trump. Does any of this factor against that decision?
I think it's got to, but I think the thing that factors against the decision most of all should be the economic state of the state of New Jersey, which is deplorable. He has not done a good job as governor, and the idea that Donald Trump has tapped him as the transition chair to make the hires for the White House, when the hires he made, Bridget Kelly, David Samson, and others, have, you know, half of them are going to be under indictment. I think that speaks volumes.
Finally, Congressman, Port Authority reform. We got about 30 seconds. It's been dead in the water in both states so far. There have been attempts, but it hasn't gone anywhere. What is it going to take to actually get some reform at the Port Authority?
A new governor of New Jersey. A new governor of New Jersey. And let me just say 1,000% I agree with the professor. She's absolutely right. Christie, 75% of New Jerseyans think Governor Christie is doing a terrible job. 75% of New Jerseyans.
Real reform at the Port Authority? Not going to happen.
Congressman? Professor, journalist, thank you all so much. Up next, another breakthrough by NASA, why Juno's trip to Jupiter is unlike any other space flight in history.